folks. A little bit late on the upkeep, but you know what? It's all good. We're here to give you a load of fun for this evening, as we so normally do on SKL. It's been a bit of a interesting season, given that I went into this season kind of all over the place in terms of what I was going through with regards to my mental health and what have you, which I'm happy to say I've been discharged from mental therapy. I've been given the blueprint to continue on as best possible, just to like when someone has trained you enough, but then they leave you the guiding principle notes so that you can complete the rest by yourself. Think that. And I'd like to start off with a little bit of reflection. Because keep in mind, we are ending the 10th season of Sunday Night Live, which began back in late August of 2017, and I've actually prepared a little piece. Now, some may be interested to hear some of the things that kind of led to the creation of this, and Lids will probably cringe at a moment as a callback to the very first pilot episode, in which an A-log and a Prez, well, they sung a song about Madam President.
Uh-oh.
And she's thinking, oh, dear God, what did they do?
Oh, God, no.
Sunday Night Live, 5 years and 10 seasons later. I think this is probably the longest I've ever run any podcast series. Those that were around in the late 2000s and early 2010s will remember I dabbled in reviewing wrestling back then, as a means of filling in gaps when I wasn't able to produce content on a regular basis, unlike I do now. Some of you may remember Main Event Night. Some people even remember the announce table. And then there was this little thing that started 11 years ago called Roll Down Rebound. I'm sure some of you have heard it. Point is, excuse me, that series lasted for 3 years and 8 seasons before we ultimately decided to take a much needed break due to the lackluster quality that WWE was putting out at the time, and unfortunately it's gotten worse since 2013. We did come back a year later for RDR next, but it only lasted 2 seasons, with again quality being a contributing factor for leaving. Just look at the Authority story angle from back then and you'll have all you need to know.
Or currently, after Hell in a Cell.
Yep.
Oh dear.
Rhea Ripley, Damian Priest, kick out Edge, and making Finn Balor the leader.
That makes me feel good, actually.
So is this basically Bullet Club, Balor Club 2.0?
In a sense.
I guess.
I don't care. It's awesome.
Yeah.
Around 2016-17 was when I noticed that live stream podcasting was becoming more of a thing, and I wanted to try my hand at it more. What started in late August 2017 was the pilot episode for Sunday Night Live, in which only myself, the Prez, and a few others just rambled on for a few hours, which really wasn't that much better than our RDR days. I mean, you only need to look through the first 2 seasons, and people are like, are you still on the air? Yes, we are. Wait, I haven't become Eric Cartman yet. What am I? Oh, you're that name that you don't want to remember. Shut up. You're like Sonic and Shadow fused together. That'd be so weird. But I was enjoying what we were doing. I decided to go ahead and make it a series because it's a great way of interacting with your audience as opposed to putting up a video, reading feedback, and then either responding comments or make a follow-up video. Now, some have criticized me for going live streaming, and for some it wasn't what they signed up for. That's okay. But I'm a firm believer in rolling with the times and adapting. Sometimes you have to know when to change the formula up so that you stay fresh. An acquaintance of mine once said, you either adapt and roll with the times and learn to evolve, Otherwise, you become stale, stagnant, irrelevant, and left in the past. You don't change your game up. How do you expect to move forward? And here's the thing that people don't seem to remember. The more you continue to learn, the more you stay relevant. And this is actually a proven scientific fact. If you continue to learn something new, you keep your mind and your body young, and you don't age as quick, because the moment you choose not to learn anything new, that's when you truly start to age. Prove me wrong. I think you have to be objective and weigh out what works for you first before catering to your audience. Friendships have been made, some strengthened, some have even made a relationship. And many have benefited from others' connections in which they didn't have before. On a trivial note, it still makes me smile to this day when I threw out the invitation to win on air to be the first female RDR panelist for Survivor Series and reading her comment, "Me?" Which reminds me, it was amusing hearing the present A-Log serenading Lydia with "Oh Lydia, oh Lydia, oh Lydia" on air to Madam President in the pilot episode that annoyed Oni. But considering that many things annoy Captain Oni Madman Rikaku, it doesn't narrow the list down that much. Anytime he's raging, you are flying into the danger zone. Not even Maverick wants to deal with that. And there's Tom Cruise like, I don't get paid enough for this. Madman Rikaku, you flying in the airs, you're scared. And then there's Cyber Zen Master Raiden flying in the airs like, I ain't flying with this shit. I like to think this show is better 5 years on. Is it perfect? It's got a way to go before we could be considered that. We're just about entertaining the audience as well as ourselves. We make mistakes on occasion, but sometimes I think you have to. Also, one could make the argument that there are no mistakes, only lessons learned. Experience is experience. Irrelevant if it's good or bad, you still learn from it. Where will SKL be 5 years from now? I can't say. Right now I'm just content doing what we're doing with the aiming of reaching affiliate stage, and we actually get a little money on the side for what we're doing. Ideally, I'd like us to be in a position where we would get a financial boost to where the show can be better funded and possibly free up time for myself in between to possibly bring back shows that are currently shelved. Someday, I would like to bring back Ask the Knight by answering questions to more than one person. This is the reason why that show was shelved, because some just inundated the show with questions that I think it made it look biased to one specific viewer when it should have been about giving more people a chance to ask me questions on whatever had been on their mind. As long as it wasn't religion or politics, I would happily answer them. I'd also like to bring back anime service as well, only because I got the love for it again, and Western animation and entertainment in general just seem to be producing subpar entertainment, while also injecting their own political beliefs into the story, which I'm not a fan of. And some people wonder why Marvel and DC sales are tanking and manga is going up. I mean, really, are you surprised? I like entertainment to be apolitical. That's why Back to the Future still works to this day. No politics. And that's how I like it. It's not me that makes SKL work. I may have started it, but it's everyone else that puts a little of themselves into it. Madam President with her savage honesty and tell it like it is old Yeller treatment if you don't like it. Raiden's suave and smooth, cut to the chase, take no prisoners attitude and doesn't apologize for it. And if he's feeling extra generous, he will mark L's to death with you. You've been warned. Steven's very regal sensibilities, Wynn's cute yet terrifying demeanor when a fire is lit under her, and to Kaiju's sobering common sense that knows when to pull people back and keep into a formula, and Oni being Oni when he shows up. Take that however you wish.
Would we have him any other way? Sorry.
It depends what mood he's in. If it's regular Oni, you know we can bring him down. If he's Raging Oni or Captain Madman Rikaku, a lot of chamomile tea is required to soothe the raging spirit. And Lid's probably saying, "Honey, if you behave, I'll get you Domino's and Mountain Dew. I'll behave." Yes, yes, you will. And we will watch Buffy the Vampire Slayer tonight. I will get you extra Dominoes. This is going to cost you huge. Dominoes plus cookies plus Haagen-Dazs ice cream and a trip to the next AEW pay-per-view. I will do as you say, mistress. I will do as you say. Will you really? And he's looking up at me. He's like, I hate you. I know. And Elman gets to watch. Why did he get to watch? Your anguish sustains me. And then there's Raiden going, okay, dude, you have issues. Oh, I know. I wear them all the time.
My God.
Point is, these are the ones that make it work. I'm just a master of ceremonies. I set the topics up, they go to town with it. So thank you for being with us for 5 years and 10 seasons, and stay tuned, because there's more to come. Alrighty, if anybody wants to chip in their 2 cents on 5 years of insane entertainment and tell it like it is, do your thing.
I'll start.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
I mean, I'll say this: I never thought it would get this far. I mean, I remember the first time we actually met was during RDR for SummerSlam 2016, I believe, and I never thought, this would grow from wrestling to just talk about everyday stuff. It's cool. And I don't know, I think just where I was in my life, it was okay, but with a little bit more anguish and all that, trying to just get to my issues and all that. And I don't know, I think it's thanks to this that I'm a little bit more balanced than I was before. So for that, I thank you, I thank Gwen, I thank Lids, I thank Steve, I thank Kaiju, and of course I thank Oni for just, I don't know, just having this whole thing balance me out for years to come. So here's some more years.
You're welcome.
I guess I'll go next. I think this being on the show, I wasn't even expecting to at least end up on here because I gotta be honest. I asked, even though I kind of felt like I was hoarding in on Wynn's invitation as well. But I asked. I thought you were gonna say no, but when you said yes, I'm like, wait, what? I was surprised, but I'm glad I got the courage to at least ask if I can come along on this journey, if you will. And here I am right now. It's like I feel like I've changed the most, or at least changed my position of where I was beforehand. I am literally in another state, away from my family, living with the man that I love. It's all because of this show. And I can't. All I can say is I'm grateful for that.
You're welcome.
And I'm glad I kind of took up the courage to ask if I can come along, because who knows where I'd be if I didn't ask. So I do owe a lot of you for that, and then right now I have a group of the greatest friends I could ever have, and I thank you a lot for that, and I look forward to where the next 5 years takes us. So I'm along for the ride.
Not a problem, Madam President.
All good in the hood. We appreciate you.
I guess it's my turn, isn't it, now?
Mm-hmm.
Well, what else is there to say? I think from the beginning, I knew you from watching some of Random's videos, and then when you started watching these, and I think we had conversed before in the comments, but it was during that kind of first pilot season where I dropped in on a few occasions right at the very ends of the podcast, because I just started a new job working for Argos at nights, and I think joining in on those very few seasons before like becoming a full-on member of the. Would you say co-host?
Yeah, I'd say that's fair.
Yeah. I was just happy to come along and share my 2 cents and on occasions have a laugh with you guys because it just really added a perk to my day. Coming here, just chatting with all of you, and I truly do thank you, MJ, for giving me a chance and allowing me to come in and join in on the fun.
It's all good, my dude. It's all good. All right. That's that particular topic out of the way. This was likely to get brought up anyway, but well, Saturday morning, at the time I sent my Instagram and tweets out, because this was about 2 or 3 a.m. when I posted this, Jurassic Park officially turned 29.
Ooh.
And I have a piece. It's difficult for me to put into words what Jurassic Park means to me as a fan. It came in around at a time there was a momentum shift in visual effects. Terminator 2 showed what could be done with the advance in VFX and how it works seamlessly with practical effects. And I think that's why Jurassic Park still holds up in that department, is that one complements the other. Visual effects allowed the dinosaurs to do what practical effects could not, with running and jumping dinosaurs, and the animatronics gave such lifelike looking animals that you'd swear you were working with real animals and not masterful creations that could only come from the late Stan Winston and his iconic studio. And with John Williams arguably giving one of the best score pieces of his career, where the music is synonymous with the movie in the same manner of that of his work with Star Wars, Indiana Jones, and Superman. Everyone knows of that majestic and moving score when we were first introduced to the Brachiosaur on Isla Nublar, that is complemented with the angelic scores as the rest of the herd emerge from the lake, and to how 29 years later the opening score of the movie is terrifyingly haunting, with its slow fade from in and out to black, akin to that of a horror movie. Like Back to the Future, Jurassic Park is like a time capsule to where nothing has really come close to matching it. You get the storytelling of treating the dinosaurs as animals and not movie monsters, as they are now unfortunately depicted as today. This is what happens when you let too many cooks into the kitchen. Just don't go into the kitchen of the first movie. Just saying. The visual effects have improved over time, but something was lost with the sequels. That philosophical mindset of the right and wrong of de-extinct animals walking the earth again. When you're a kid, you don't pay too much heed to the dinner table scene in where they're discussing the moral and ecological implications of bringing dinosaurs back from the dead. When you're an adult, it's one of the most thought-provoking scenes of the movie, in which Dr. Ian Malcolm refers to the light of discovery as, and I quote, the rape of the natural world. Now, it's no secret that man has been tampering with nature for years. From test tube babies, crossbreeding horses and donkeys together to get mules, manipulating bird DNA to allow them to grow serrated teeth, and MTV giving us Keeping Up with the Kardashians. So man trying to resurrect dinosaurs would just be another tally. What works with the writing of the movie is that you're never bored. The story flows fluidly even when there's no dinosaur or action scenes. You get to see the plot pieces move into motion, how they intersect with each other at varying points, how Nedry's sabotage of the park just to feed his own greed causes a spiraling chain reaction that unleashes the prehistoric giants from their safari park-like confinements and run amok. You care about the characters and the respective actors who played them. I've said this many times over the years, Sam Neill is the best Alan Grant. While Harrison Ford may have been thought in initial concepts, had it been not Sam Neill, I don't think the role would have been as memorable. Laura Dern. As Ellie Settler, there's no one more perfect. She makes Ellie competent, intelligent, balanced, playful, and amusing foil for Alan, and I think most of us were thinking this as a teenager when we first saw Ellie. How you doing? The charismatically suave Jeff Goldblum was ideally cast as Dr. Ian Malcolm, a role that Jim Carrey originally auditioned for. Let that sink in. Goldblum is the moral common sense of the movie and franchise and says, hey, we shouldn't do this. And then you get to the late and great, one and wonderful Sir Richard Attenborough as the character that started it all, John Hammond. There's a real sense of warmth of a man that is eager to entertain the masses of the world and his altruistic vision of giving the animals a second chance at life. The other aspect that has allowed this movie to have a lasting appeal with the fans is that it didn't try to be a trend follower. It was just being itself. Being its own movie. These days, it's a case of take your pick with whatever franchise it's trying to be. I enjoyed those movies, minus one. Y'all know which one I mean. I always come back to this movie. It is extremely rare when a sequel outdoes an original. In the case of Jurassic Park, I think the only two sequels that came close to matching the original was The Lost World and Jurassic World, but they didn't match the magic and the awe of the original. I think the problem, and this goes for movies in general, is that we fixate so much on trying to replicate move for move what the predecessors did instead of crafting stories that continues to evolve and build upon the foundations, but at the same time matching the quality of what their respective originals did. And I think the only one I can think of that did this expertly, 2004's Spider-Man 2. It showed lows of being Spider-Man and Peter Parker dealing with the marriage side of his powers. The first movie was the wedding and the honeymoon. The second was the marriage, the commitment. As to how Jurassic Park 6 Dominion will be for me, I'll find out in a few days. I'm going in open-minded because if recent history, and therapy for that matter, has taught me anything, is allow events to unfold and let hindsight be the guiding factor rather than making judgments and critiques prematurely. As long as it does two things for me, wash the taste of Fallen Kingdom out, and at least be better than Jurassic Park 3. In terms of the standards of how bad Jurassic movies are measured, that is still bottom of the pile. Change my mind, not that you will. To the original Jurassic Park, I say unto thee, happy 29th anniversary. You are part of an amazing childhood that I fondly remember and love returning to. A much more innocent time, and a much cherished time. And in the words of the late Richard Attenborough, welcome to Jurassic Park. Spared no expense. Y'all take it in turns with whatever you want to say on what Jurassic Park meant to you then and what it means to you now.
Wants to go first?
What, you want to go? Want to go first, Liz?
I'll go first. Why not?
All right.
Well, to be honest, it's again when I was a kid, I saw the first Jurassic Park movie, and I'm like, this is so cool because again, I've never thought I'd be able to see dinosaurs like that realistic, even though science has now taught me that they don't look exactly like they do in this movie specifically. Considering a lot of them had feathers, but again, I'm not a paleontologist, so or an archaeologist for that matter. So still, it's like as a kid, it's like this is so cool. You're like there are dinosaurs right here, and then when the raptors started attacking children, that's when I'm like, okay, maybe I don't want this. So, but years on, I've come to appreciate a lot of the movies, even the third one, which again, that's bottom of the barrel. But again, that's just me. Because after that, it could only go up from here. But I just say it's the movies have gotten better through time. Again, with technology evolving the way it has, and I just feel like nowadays I feel like that they need to tell a story besides you're relying on the CGI. Don't get me wrong; the movies are fine for what they are. It's just tell us, like, use what the first movie did. Tell a story with the CG, with the special effects and the CGI and whatnot. Like, because that's what worked for the first movie. Why not just go from there? But that's just me. So I still enjoy the movies for what they are. I don't watch the third one, but again, that's because I had a taste of the one time, and I don't need to watch it ever again. I know what happens. Let's move on. But I do still enjoy the movies from time to time. So if it's ever on, I at least sit down and watch it for a little bit. So I do still get enjoyment out of the films, and hopefully I've been hearing a lot of things. I'm not going to say what because spoilers. I've been hearing a lot of things about the latest one, but I'll let someone else's judgment be that, and my judgment's just there. It's fine. So I don't like to make passing judgments on that.
That's fair. Steven?
Oh. I was only about 2, I think, when the first Jurassic Park came out, so didn't really discover it until much later. But 2 years ago, I ended up rewatching it in 4DX, and even watching it from that many years after, the effects still hold up when you watch it inside a cinema.
Yep.
And they still give you goosebumps down your spine. It was that much of a landmark, not only in filmmaking, but in film technology. So much. I think it's one of those Jurassic Park is one of those films that deserves to be put into what is it called? The film registry or something or other?
Yeah, it's like a specific department where it's put into preservation, so that like great movies like Jaws, Back to the Future, Iron Man, the first Michael Keaton Batman movie, they're preserved for future generations.
Yeah, that is a film that deserves to be among those, because it is right at this point. It's referenced so much in popular culture, and it has had an influence not within the as well as in the film community, but in the scientific community, getting people into the get into the actual sciences of paleontology, archaeology, as well as a whole generation interested in dinosaurs.
Yep.
There's not much I could say that hasn't already been said about this movie.
All right. Thank you, Sir Stephen. And to the Cyber Raiden, your thoughts.
And I gotta say, the Jurassic Park franchise, even though it really wasn't a big part of it, I guess it did play a big part of my childhood. I think my first thing was watching The Lost World. I grew enamored with Ian Malcolm. I thought he was the suavest, coolest dude on earth. It had its flaws before what it's worth. I thought a T-Rex in the city, that's genius,
Yep.
I know it's fake or whatever, but for what it's worth, I thought the CGI, even after all these years, even with the first one, when Rexy first made his appearance on Jurassic Park, still holds up today.
Yep.
It just sucks that the series went to crap when the third movie came out. Then we didn't hear anything about it. Just moved on to my days. Then hear about Jurassic World. Checked it out. I thought it was cool. Then all that went to with the second one. But despite its flaws, I'm happy that fans can still experience what they what they saw when they were kids with the Jurassic Park series. I'm happy that they're still puts the foot in the door, especially with the Netflix's Camp Cretaceous. Glad that's getting love. So
Oh yeah.
even though I'm not a big fan of it, I'm happy that it still found its mission this mark. So that's cool. So happy 29th, I guess.
Alrighty. One little item I'm going to cover very briefly. Only because I feel like this is necessary, because what I'm going to be covering now is when I did the review for the 25th anniversary, and I just feel like this is just important to cover. Jurassic Park 25th anniversary review in retrospective 4 years later. I've loved movies since back as far as I can remember. I love larger-than-life stories that challenges the imagination and the challenges of producing and putting the finished story all together. So, when I had been a veteran movie reviewer on YouTube for 11 years by the time the 25th anniversary of one of my fave movies rolled around, I wanted to challenge myself. I'd done the kind of rinse and repeat of playing things safe for some time around July, August of that year, and I purposely waited till the dust had settled and all the smoke had cleared before I could step through those iconic gates and look with laser-sharp focus and say, my turn. It is an iconic movie for a reason and has more than stood the test of time, and to that end, to do a review where it would be a disservice was out of the question. I knew I had to sharpen my writing and editing skills. Now, when I look back at it, there are numerous things I would do differently, which has since been applied to my routine. The transitions are shorter, the audio is much cleaner, the chroma keying I like to think has improved, but you're only as good as your last review. And that's something any good storyteller, artist, reviewer always does. Always look to improve. Because the more you continue to learn, the younger your physical and mental health stays, because the moment you choose to stop learning is when you truly start aging. I always go back to this review to remind myself of the love I have for storytelling in movies, and that I have an opinion and viewpoint based on the art of how a story should be told, and being able to see subtle nuances that may fly under the radar to other people. I always see this as my stepping stone. After doing this review, this was the standard I had to hold myself to. Because when you put more love and effort into what you do and it's something that you cherish, then others will see the love, energy, and enthusiasm in what you do, and it becomes infectious. On a trivial note, damn it, I still want my Knight Rider crossover with Jurassic Park. Even if it's just a one and done feature, I still want to see Kit jump the Rex, and for context, it has to be Classic Kit or Kit Prime. It can be live action or it can be an animated piece. I love over-the-top scenarios that are so bizarre yet entertaining that people will go, only MJ could think of this and make it work, and you damn right. For example, an intergalactic lightsaber battle triple threat match between Draco Azul versus Darth Maul versus the Red Ranger, or Kenshiro versus the Green Ranger versus the Shredder, and Raiden's already whetting his appetite. It's like, wait, I need popcorn for this. This is going to be good. The 25th anniversary review was something I was anxious about. But I believe that's a good thing. Because when you're concerned how it may be received shows that you care about what you're doing, so that when you look back at it in reflection down the line, you can take pride in something that you made has entertained many that may be inspired to do what you do. And that, for me, is a beautiful thing. You don't have to say anything on this particular one if you want, because this was just me putting out something in reflection. So if you want to say anything, say it now, or we can move on. Alright then. Say, that was just something I just needed to get out there. This next piece of news comes to us concerning DOTA Dragon's Blood Season 3.
Cool.
Ooh.
DOTA Dragon's Blood will be coming back for a third season later this summer, and Netflix has shared the first look at what to be expected from the new episodes in Season 3. The animated take on the massively popular DOTA franchise from the studio behind Voltron Legendary Defender, The Legend of Korra, and most recently The Witcher, Nightmare of the Wolf first debuted last year and surprisingly came back with its second season earlier this winter. And it was glorious. Now the series is gearing up for the premiere of its third season this August by picking up from where the second season left off. Bring Lena back, damn it! Dragon's Blood will officially appear returning for Season 3 of the anime series on August 11th, and while Netflix has not yet to set a concrete release date, we've got an idea of what to expect for the new episodes. The second season had kicked up the intensity from what happened in the first run, and thus it's already looking like the new season is going to be just as heavy. You can check out some of the first look at Season 3 below. So, with that, I shall post a couple of tweets. Queen Marina, voiced by Lara Pulver, who, to Sherlock fans, Irene Adler herself, the woman.
Ooh.
Yep.
Ooh.
And there's more. The eye opened and it's the beginning of the end is here. Dragon's Blood Season 3 is here. And the person that you see in the trailer, Troy Baker.
Whoa.
Yep.
Holy shit.
This, I'm telling you right now, Madam President, this series is absolutely amazing, with Yuri Lowenthal probably putting in one of the best performances of his voice acting career as Dragon Knight Davion. He comes across as what it would be like if Charlie Harper was a medieval knight slaying dragons, but the guy actually has some character to him and he actually cares about certain people, and the animation, as Raiden would say, this is god tier level of animation. Not joking. If you wanted to check out Dragon's Blood, you can catch up before the new season hits. The first two seasons of the series are now streaming on Netflix. They officially describe the series as such. The upcoming fantasy series tells the story of Davion, a renowned dragon knight devoted to wiping the scourge from the face of the world. Following encounters with a powerful ancient elder worm, as well as the noble princess Mirana on a secret mission of her own, Davion becomes embroiled in events much larger than he could have ever imagined. Comicbook.com gave Dragon's Blood season a favourable look when it first hit. You can read the full review there in the link. Noting about the following season. Enhancing the experience is the animation provided by Studio Mir. Kai Huyan Ryu, who also worked on The Legend of Korra and Voltron Legendary Defender, oversees a team that delivers the same quality of action animation fans have been accustomed to. The CG animation all fits, but it does have a small impact on the way blood splatter looks. Either way, fans of slick-looking anime full of bloody sequence will undoubtedly have a good time. What do you think? Will you be checking out Season 3's return? Hell yes! This, I think Smokey would have said it best. Damn! Man, I'm gonna check this out. I've tried to get Win sold on this because there is another version of Lena Inverse in this one, but what people need to remember is that the Slayer's counterpart that we know inspired this version. This version of Lena, she's not a grumpy, greedy, insecure, short-statured sorceress. This one is still somewhat shorter than most of the leading protagonists, but she speaks with a slightly slower, more British way of speaking, but badass is all I'm gonna say. And damn. And as the nice little cherry on top, the leading dragon voiceover, Tony Todd, going full Idris Elba mode.
Ooh.
Yeah. The vocal range that he delivers. Picture the Fallen from Revenge of the Fallen, and that's the voice that he provides for his character.
Okay, that is terrifying.
Yeah.
Granted, he was one of the only good things about that movie.
Yeah, we don't talk about that movie. Nor do we talk about Totoro's character being below a certain enemy's area. Yeah.
Yeah, that was fun. That one ever.
Yeah. So, usual piece. Anyone wants to say anything right now? Go right ahead.
All I'm gonna say is I need to check this out because we still technically have Netflix, so it's on Netflix, right?
It is indeed
Yes.
all 2 seasons, or the first 2 books that they refer to. So each episode is a chapter. The series is a book. It is badass.
Okay.
Right.
All right,
from
if that's the
word go.
case, I will. All right, that's the case. I will definitely look into it and watch it because I've got a lot of stuff that I've forgotten to watch on Netflix, so might as well. Like, looks interesting, so I might give it a watch.
Sir Stephen.
What might be something I need to check out at some point, or just add to my list on Netflix.
Alrighty. And to our own Slayer of Dragons, Sir Cyber Raiden. Your thoughts?
I can't lie to you. I still haven't finished the second season, and so far, I dug it. Not as big as the first one, but I do like the exposition. So, hopefully, this one is pretty good.
I will only say I'll say partial spoiler, so if anyone doesn't want to hear this partial spoiler, mute for about 25 seconds. I felt bad for Davion's understudy when his dragon wife bit the dust, because it was so cute with what they were doing, because she's able to go from human to dragon form, but it was just so cute the way she was imprinting on him and looking after him and inspiring him. And I'm like, when she went, I'm like, oh, come on, come on, story, you're gonna do him dirty like that? Come on. But then again, some animes are known for being a punch in the gut. I mean, just look at the end of Vampire in the Garden and you'll know exactly what I mean. Seriously, Wit Studios, I want a season 2, damn it, bring Fine back. Alright. That's that one done. We're sticking with anime, because this concerns Netflix again, and one Castlevania Nocturne announced.
Yay!
Castlevania might have wrapped up its 4th season run, but Netflix has dropped the first look at the next entry in the animated franchise, Castlevania Nocturne. Back when the original series had ended its run, it wrapped up Trevor Belmont's story with the biggest fight in animated series to date. It was then revealed Netflix was hoping to continue exploring the franchise with new stories, and it was then confirmed that we're already in the plans to continue the franchise with a whole new series following Trevor and Siphia's son. Now, is it Richter or Richter? Thank you.
Richter.
Set during the French Revolution. Netflix has officially revealed the first look at the next Castlevania animated series, Nocturne. The new series will be following Richter this time around, and was originally teased also involving Maria Bernard from the original game series as well. The first announcement teaser trailer teases just as intense of a new series as the original was. But there are currently no details about its potential release date as of yet. Check out the announcement trailer below. Nocturne will feature Kevin Colday as showrunner, with and creative writer Clive Bradley also attached. Produced by Project 51 Productions, with production service provided by Powerhouse Animation. the same people that did Masters of the Universe Revelation, which will be doing Revolution as well. Castlevania Nocturne teases material from Symphony of the Night, which is the holy grail for Castlevania fans, and Blood of Rondo Castlevania games. You can still find the original Castlevania series now streaming with Netflix. Comicbook.com's Evan Valentine reviewed Castlevania's fourth and original final outing as well during its initial release, and spoke of it as such. Amid the blood and guts, Castlevania takes the opportunity to dive into what it means to be a creature of the night and or vampire. Well, I work nights, so I kind of have a feeling about that, because daylight, really, really rough at 7 in the morning. Which allows for some interesting character development that gives something for fans to mull over in the final moments. Fans of the series will definitely find themselves surprised where some of their favourite characters end up, and which battles actually take place following the build-up of Season 3. It's a tight, action-packed affair that potentially could have used one less episode to bring everything to a close. I've only ever seen a few episodes of Castlevania. I know it was particularly impressive that they got the voice actor that voiced Loki in Avengers Earth's Mightiest Heroes. So I'm like, okay, you're doing stunt casting. It's like, okay, you have me intrigued already. I mean, it'd be like, let's say for the sake of discussion, 20th Century Studios and Disney finally decide to give us Buffy the Vampire Slayer, the anime series, and let's say, who's a really good voice actress right about now? Somebody that could really go for it. Imagine if they got the voice actress that played Felicia Hardy in Spider-Man the Animated Series as Buffy.
Jennifer Hale?
Yep.
Ooh.
And what if...
Yeah, I could see that.
And what if, as Xander, they got Yuri Lowenthal?
That works. I don't know why, but it works.
And let's see, who can do... Who's actually a very, got such a great range as an anime voice actress? What if they got Jessica Boone as Willow? For those that may not be familiar with that name, she voiced the leading protagonist in Angelic Lair, and she also voiced Chio-chan in Azumanga Daioh. So she has range. And as Giles, what if they got Troy Baker? And there's Madam President quietly thinking, I need this now.
So who would make a good Spike?
Simple, because it's voice acting. Just bring in James Masters.
Yeah.
Because here's the thing, he stopped playing Spike in live animation because vampires don't age. Humans do, although we still can't explain Tom Cruise at the moment. I'm starting to wonder about you, Tom. Are you doing stuff at night as Lestat? Just saying.
I don't know.
But like I say, it's voice acting, so just bring James Masters back for that. And heck, if you bring an Angel, just get David Boreanaz to reprise his role. And Liz will agree, he ages real slow. I don't know what it is about that man, but he just does not age. Although I'm still salty about him for what he said about Knight Rider SG. It's just like, dude, you shouldn't trash another show on air. Just saying. Because he was saying whilst he was doing like a promo for Bones at the time, here's a show you shouldn't watch, Knight Rider. I gave it a chance in the 80s. It should have stayed where it should have been, just on paper. And I'm like, it's like, dude, careful. I actually like you. But, what if you... Because there's meant to be an original, very short, but very high quality promo they did for Buffy the Animated Series. And I'm shocked to this day that it never went into production. The only voice talent that didn't return was Sarah Michelle Gellar, because they brought in the voice actress that had voiced Buffy for the games, because for whatever reason Sarah didn't want to do it.
Yeah, I heard about that.
But to be fair, the voice actress they had, I'm like, she's a decent sound alike, so I don't have any problem with it. And I'm like, why was this not fully picked up? This would have worked. I mean,
Yeah.
I mean, you know, it would have been interesting, you know, after seeing the Blade trilogy, we could have gotten an anime series out of Blade. Would have been interesting to see his origin and his progression from being half vampire.
I think they did make an anime. I don't remember if I'm thinking incorrectly. I'm not sure. I think they did.
I know they also did a Marvel movie where it was Punisher and Black Widow working together, which
Yeah, Avengers Confidential. Yeah, dude. Yeah, the animation stuff that was so good. It makes you wonder that, you know, they did more of that, like kind of like what they did with their anime series that was on G4 at the time, like from X-Men to Blade to Wolverine, Iron Man. You know, it would have been cool to see that with more superheroes instead of just the main Avengers.
Spider-Man in anime, that would be something. Because Batman had that treatment as well with Gotham Knight. Mind you, they did 10 10-minute little chapters, but it was done by a different studio just so you could see how Batman would look. And I think some were probably going a little bit over the top with regards to some of the visuals, but it's a different studio putting their take on it. And even though Kevin Conroy phoned it in, as he so often does, it was still enjoyable. And again, more and more studios are going back to anime because there's also that Catwoman anime movie where...
Hunted.
Yeah, Liz may be interested to know Selena Kyle and Batwoman kind of have a thing.
Go on.
It's
I saw, yeah.
It's kind of...
Also...
Go on, man.
Oh, go ahead, man. My bad.
It's kind of revealed when Selena Kyle's masquerading as a costume that was clearly a nod to the 60s Batman series costume for Catwoman. Selena likes the women as well as the men. And there's this point where, well, she's kind of getting Batwoman to drop her guard, and we see that well, they kind of develop a kingship between them. And Cheetah, she went full beast mode.
Oh.
And the ending...
Also fun.
Go on.
Also, fun fact, Catwoman is voiced by Elizabeth Gillies, a.k.a. Jade from Victorious.
Oh, wow.
Yes! The Queen!
Yeah, but the ending that Cheetah got, I kind of sort of peered at the screen, I go, yeah, you're not going to be walking that one off. It was more than a punch to the gut for her. I'll let you draw your own conclusions from that. But this is something
Gotta check that out later, because I watched a little of the beginning, and after that I kind of stopped. I don't know why.
I mean, this kind of sort of highlights, what I said earlier more consumers now are going back to anime because Western comics are just not doing it for them.
Yeah,
Because
especially on the Marvel side, because
oh,
that was just because that shit is convoluted as all hell. On the DC side, it's getting a little better, but and not to mention their live action movies so far, especially with their series, especially Peacemaker. It's been getting off the ground. So you wish the best for them, and you wish the best for Marvel, even though they're. Ugh.
Here's the thing with me. If you happen to be telling, say, a political thriller akin to that of Winter Soldier, then yeah, you expect some stuff to be political. But when you
It worked. That's what worked because it's America's history, conspiracy theories, and all that shit. So that it was the reason people love that movie so much because it fits to the demographic of what Captain America is all about.
I think what a lot of, and this is not just Random, because well, Random has opinions beyond opinions that some people are still trying to wrap their heads around. But his thoughts tend to reflect a little of my own, and that if you have, say, a Spider-Man story where it should be about Spidey webbing up the bad guys and taking a few selfies of himself, which he then makes money for, because let's call it for what it is, it's essentially what he's doing. But then you see, like, social political commentary or identity politics put in, you're like, I appreciate those things are important, but comic books are most often are supposed to be about escapism, and not everyone wants politics in forms of escapism, because we've seen from quite a few movies when they start injecting their own politics into things, the box office results don't tend to be what they wanted. Feedbusters to name but a few.
Yeah.
So when it comes to manga and anime, I mean, with stuff like Ghost in the Shell, because it's dealing with intelligence warfare, you expect politics to play a factor, but it's not one that's forced on you, nor does it insult your intelligence. They deal with it in such a tactful way where you think, yeah, this could actually work. And with Slayers, you're not going to get political commentary. If anytime Lena Inverse is on her soapbox, you're going to be expected to have your mind blown with some of the things she comes out with, and if you piss her off, well, let's just say you ain't gonna be walking away from a dragon slave, and Win can vouch for this. The only thing I would say, particularly with stuff like Vampire in the Garden, the only thing that's political is that there's a very subtle same-sex relationship between some characters, but it's done in a way whereby blink and you miss it. It's done in a way whereby when you see it, you're like, oh, that's cute. It's done in a way where it's done in a more sweet and innocent way, rather than something where you think, ugh, why'd they do that? Which I think that's how it should be presented. I mean, the only one I can think of where they probably did that was Willow's relationships in Buffy. Lids, being the Buffy aficionado, would you say that was probably the most accurate way they handled Willow's relationships after Oz?
I feel like it is, because again, the one thing that I feel that honestly, she's not technically completely a lesbian, in my personal opinion. She's honestly bisexual because she loved Oz. And in some weird way, even after she, in a sense, was in the closet and came out of the closet, she still had feelings for Oz. So I feel she was more bisexual than she was a lesbian. I gotta be honest. But again, there are a lot of spectrums of the rainbow nowadays that were like she could have been anything. But I feel like the one thing that I honestly feel like one problem that we have as a culture is bi erasure, because we think that bisexual men are gay, or at least some people do, while bisexual women are just women who are pretending to be gay so that they can turn on men, which is complete bullshit. It feels like bullshit to me because, again, as a member of that specific realm of the rainbow, that's not the case. I'm not attracted to every woman, but I'm also not attracted to every man. Like, I just like what I like. So, it doesn't matter what that is. If that describes me as a different kind of like sexuality, I guess that's fine. But again, I've always been attracted to both men and women. It's just I'm not attracted to everything I see. I'm not sexually perverse, as most people would say, and that would go for same long lines of Willow, who was attracted to both men and women. She spent a lot of years being attracted to certain people. She was attracted to Xander for a while, but then she gave that up, and then she's all like, I do like in season 7 they kind of made a call to that, where it's like Xander would like say, "Oh, you wrote poetry about me," and then Willow's like, "I'm over you, sweetie." It's like, yeah, that's like, because that's the one thing about Xander that I didn't like, is that he was pushy and way too much of a Joss Whedon insert, and the less we talk about Joss Whedon, the better. Yeah, for me, persona non grata these days. Just because he wrote my favorite show doesn't mean he gets a fucking pass, because fuck him. But that's beyond here or there. But it is very accurate to how Willow is written, so I will say that.
All right.
Didn't mean to go into a tangent there.
Hey, we're known for it, so, you know.
That'll never die.
No. No. But no, I think the way you'd the best way to write scenarios like that, it's think Peter Parker and Gwen Stacy from Amazing Spider-Man. It's like that first love, you know, there's that very sweet, tender innocence. And I think, you know, particularly in the case of Fine and Momo, it's done in such a way whereby you can tell there's something going on, but there's genuine concern and friendship, because, you know, vampires generally in fiction don't actually care about human beings. They just see them as you know, a walking buffet, or as it's said a few times, they're just seen as a blood bag. But, you know, Fine genuinely cares for her. You know, which says a lot about her character. Whereas with the vampires in Castlevania, oh yeah, you know, they see a human, they're like, ooh, appetizer already, don't mind if I do.
If I can interject, there are some that find humans interesting, like the vampire Lenore. I feel like she was more and the thing about her, she had a sweet demeanor, but she won't hesitate to take anyone out to make fun of her. So there was cool layers to that.
All right.
There's also Isaac, who was my favorite.
Okay. Not being huge on, you know, because I saw very little of Castlevania, but I will say I was blown away by the visuals. But then again, it's by Powerhouse Animation, so they know exactly what they're doing, because, as you've said on multiple occasions, Ray, you know, that's god tier level of animation.
Oh, yeah.
It's just, you don't get that everywhere. I'll just gonna let you guys say what you want to about the announcement for the next season. So, have right at it.
It'd be cool if it would have been cool if Wynn was here, because I think she, out of myself, she's he's the biggest purveyor of Castlevania. But for me, I'm not the biggest Castlevania game wise with the series. I was really into, especially the first season. Like, okay, Dracula. The way they wrote Dracula was very interesting. Like, yeah, he's Dracula, but I think, and I'm kind of going to spoil territories, but he fell in love with a human woman, and he really loved her. And when those bum ass priests took her out, that's when Drac, of course, in the games, goes full blown Scorcher. He's a dick for that, but you understand why he did it. That was the one thing he loved, and then there you go. So with with this next season overarching, I'm super excited because it was thanks to reviewers and these who some call me Johnny that I was really liking Victor Belmont. I like how he was very the next generation. He had powers thanks to his mother, Sypha, and of course my personal favorite character in the whole Castlevania series, Trevor Belmont, who was a snarky dude, but he definitely showed out in that final battle he had with Death in the last season. So with this one, I'm so looking forward to it. And since it's going to Symphony of the Night territory, it's going to be bombastic as hell.
Mm-hmm.
And who knows? And we already know in the next couple seasons we will finally get the OG, the classic Simon Belmont. So with this, I'm so looking forward to it. I always look forward to when next season for Castlevania is announced, because like like you mentioned, the animation is so damn good, but it's not only that, it's the story. You definitely want to see more. It's the reason why people go to Netflix because of adult animation, and I'm happy that it still continues to this day, so I'm super looking forward to it.
So, Stephen?
Not got much to say because was never really introduced to the Castlevania stuff. Again, it's another one of those things that I'm gonna need to check out at some point.
So good.
I will say you won't regret it. I think you will like it.
Yeah. Madam President?
I just have one thing to say.
Mm-hmm.
Gimme. As soon as I saw this announcement, I'm like, holy shit. Like, we're getting, this is awesome. Okay. There's so much that I need to catch up on. It's, like, not even funny.
Alright, then. We have a sequel to Ghostbusters Afterlife confirmed, and the franchise will go back to Manhattan.
Hey.
It came, it saw, it kicked its ass. Despite its mixed critical reception, Sony sees a long afterlife for Jason Reitman's Ghostbusters continuation. A reboot means you're starting the whole thing over again. Just saying, folks, just saying. Reitman, the son of the original Ghostbusters director Ivan Reitman, said at last year's New York Comic Con that he hoped the 21 film would set the table for additional sequels. This week, as part of a Ghostbusters Day event marking the anniversary of the 1984 film's June 8 release, the director revealed the franchise's next installment is in development. We're writing another movie, he said alongside screenwriter Gil Keenan. Tonight we're going to share the codename for the next chapter in the Spengler family story. While the original two Ghostbuster films featured a team of 4 characters, Bill Murray's Peter Venkman, Dan Aykroyd's Ray Stantz, Ernie Hudson's Winston Zeddemore, and Howard Ramis's Egon Spengler, Afterlife focused specifically on Spengler's descendants, who rediscovered his technology and legacy years after his death. Or should it be months after his death? His daughter Carrie Coon, and grandchildren Trevor and Phoebe looks set to bust a whole new generation of ghosts. A post-credit scene showed Winston returning the vintage Ecto-1 to the team's original home, a renovated firehouse in Manhattan. According to Reitman, that's where the movie will pick up far from the Oklahoma ranches of Afterlife. The last time we saw Ecto-1, it was driving back into Manhattan, the home of Ghostbusters. That's where our story begins. The code name is Firehouse, Reitman and Keenan announced. Afterlife, you might recall, went by the code name Rust City during filming. That's not all. The Ghostbusters team also announced a new comic book series from publisher Dark Horse, a new animated film from directors Jennifer Klushku and Chris Prinosky, and a new animated series on Netflix.
I love it. I love this guy.
That's one heck of a PKE surge for the franchise. As a lifelong Ghostbusters fan, my brain has exploded, and I'm honored that Jason Reitman and Gil Keenan have entrusted Jen and me to direct this animated feature. Excuse me while I pick my brains off the floor so we can now go make this movie. The only thing I don't know about the animated film is if it's going to be... very good, Sean. He just said we need a D-lus for the next Ghostbusters movie. I know what he's talking about. Damn it, Pack. I don't know. I don't know if the animated movie is going to be in canon with the live action movies, or if it's going to sync up with the 1986 animated series. But then that said, that series had closure with the season finale of Extreme Ghostbusters, with most of the original voice actors coming back.
Mm-hmm.
If it is going to tie in somehow with the animated series, first and foremost, you get Maurice LaMarche as Egon Spengler. You just do it.
Yes.
Also bring back the Extreme Ghostbusters cast.
Oh,
I really enjoy them.
Yes.
Especially Eduardo.
And Kylie, love that girl.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
She was probably the first Egon Spengler fangirl after Janine Melnitz. Because, well, before Louis Tully, whenever Janine made her eyes at Egon, you knew what she was thinking. And we also knew what else she was thinking when she saw Peter Venkman jump over his desk when Dana Barrett was in the building. I can't look at that scene now without hearing Beavis going boing. And it's just hearing Lids laughing so loud at that last year. I just saw that in my head, and I'm like, I have to put that in. And it's like, yeah, I could imagine them doing that. Yeah, I can't really think of anything else to add to that. So to the, resident Venkman himself, without the creepiness and inappropriate behavior, Sir Stephen, your thoughts on the fact that we've not only got a sequel to Afterlife, but we're getting a new animated movie and a series as well?
It's about dang time, if you ask me.
Mm-hmm.
Just as long as they don't mess it up like they did with that thing that is barely even mentionable.
Yes.
Where is it going to go from here? Plus the new comic book series, I'm up for that.
Plus, Dark Horse are reputable.
Mm-hmm.
Hmm?
Although the last time I remember, the comic licenses were owned by IDW. Maybe Dark Horse have now got the rights to publish the comic,
I
or
would
maybe
say
it's
so.
just a one-off.
I would say so.
Oh, and Sean Retro says, get Frank Welker as well. Yes?
Yes.
He's the only one, other than Dan Aykroyd, that could play Ray Stantz. He played that role to perfection in the original series.
Well, he is Frank Welker after all.
Yes, I am. Although, I will say in Transformers Prime, that was not his best performance as Megs. Just saying.
Well, I think what he was going for was a more grisly take on Megatron, because I can still remember watching the episode before the three-part finale in season 3, and it's just expressions on his face just really creeped me out.
I know when he came back to reprise his role as Galvatron, you hear his opening lines like holy shit, that's Frank Welker. And
yes.
To be fair,
that is why I have no fear.
And to be fair to him, he still has it all these years later.
I know. And I consider myself very lucky enough to meet it.
Wow.
Well, you know, because I remember in episode 100, I'd just come back from Comic-Con Liverpool and ended up sharing the picture that I got with him and Peter Cullen.
That's half the trouble with doing all these shows. Sometimes you hear, so many of these amazing stories. Sometimes you forget. I'm not saying, that to be.
You just get lost in them after a while.
Yeah. But no, that's friggin' awesome. To our own Dr. Stantz, Madam President, the fact that Afterlife is getting a sequel and we're getting 2 other forms of motion picture entertainment with Ghostbusters.
I mean, I'm very excited for it. I'm so glad that it's getting a sequel because I don't want to wait another 30 years for a decent sequel. No. Because let's be honest, the passage of time is moving a little quicker than we'd like it for it to.
Yes.
And the original Ghostbusters might not be here by that point. So I'm glad we're getting a sequel a little sooner than that. And that's good because it's like, again, I want to follow these newer characters because, again, I like the characters. So it's like I would like to see their roles continue than just relying on the original Ghostbusters and not having to have Mary Sue inserts like we heard in Big Busters, which were like the worst version of Mary Sue's, but still, that's beside the point. I'm glad that we're actually getting a sequel and that we're getting more stuff with Ghostbusters because, again, it's as much as people say that like it's overrated or overdone, it's like I mean, if you say that, what are you watching? Because it's actually you try to ruin a franchise and it's like the franchise fans won't let you ruin it, and which I admire. So
yep. I'm
glad that it's getting more attention and getting more projects in the future. If that's the case, cool. Let's do that. If we could do like a version of the new Ghostbusters, that'd be fun. Or Extreme Ghostbuster. Yeah, can we get that? I would like that. I would like that. I don't mind that.
Funny bit of trivia: the opening theme of Ghostbusters was actually sung by Jim Cummings.
Oh yeah!
Oh, hell yeah!
The thing that I'm, the thing that I wanted for an Afterlife sequel is like, before you do anything, you make sure McKenna Grace is on that casting list, and the fact that it's the Spanglers going back to the Manhattan firehouse, like, okay, I got the bare minimum of what I wanted out of it, because McKenna is so much like Egon. Little mannerisms, little quirky, inquisitive traits. It's just like, yeah, you are Egon's granddaughter. And it's such a beautiful thing when you see a character, when they discover who they are, they just then inhabit when, what they discover, who and what they are, and it becomes their strength. Rather than being afraid of it, she just embraces it. And McKenna is just such a a promising young actress. This is just a trivial personal nitpick. Just stay and focus on the entertaining side of acting, and don't get swayed into into being asked to give political stances on stuff, because I had hoped Chloe Moretz wouldn't do that, but then what happened? She goes and endorses Hillary and continued to endorse her even after she lost. I know there are fans of Mrs. Clinton out there. All I'm going to say is she's not my cup of tea, and leave it at that. There are some things that she believes in, I do not. I'll leave it at that. And last, but certainly never least, to our own suave common sense, our own Winston Zeddemore, the Cyber Raiden. Your thoughts?
I still haven't checked out Afterlife. I'll definitely get to it this year. But I'm happy that it's getting another sequel and comic book series. Dark Horse, they know what they're doing, and Christopher Noski working on the animated film. Okay, that's the perfect guy you want, because he's one of the guys in his production company who did Vox Machina and many others. So I'm down with this. Like, I'm a low key Ghostbusters guy, so yeah, I can't wait.
Alrighty. And we go now from busting spooks to a possible Star-Spangled Man return. Chris Evans has said Captain America return would be a tall order. Well, considering you were a Centurion by the end of Endgame, I think that would be a little bit difficult. Chris Evans is gearing up to release Lightyear, the animated film telling the story of Toy Story's Buzz Lightyear action figure. The first reactions to the film are praising Pixar's latest work. Lightyear is only the latest in the line of well-known roles for Evans, with the top of the list being Marvel's Captain America. The actor debuted as the super soldier in 2011's Captain America, the First Avenger, before completing a Cap trilogy, 4 Avenger movies, and appearing in other pockets of the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Following the conclusion of Roger's character in Endgame, Evans said a return would be a tall order. A popular conversation among Marvel fans centers around seeing Captain America return the 6 Infinity Stones, a sequence which took place off-screen at the end of Avengers Endgame. That seems to be something that people would like to see. However, he is not eager to jump back into the role despite the fan demand. I don't want to disappoint anybody, but it's tough to. It was such a good run, and I'm so happy with it. It's so precious to me. It would have to be perfect. It would just have to be scary to rattle something that is, again, so dear to me. The role means so much to me, so to revisit it, it would be a tall order. He spoke to comicbook.com exclusively at a press event for Lightyear. The discussion about the return as Captain America has been shared in the tweet below from the Phase Zero podcast account. Phase Zero is available on all major podcast platforms, hosting weekly Marvel discussions every Wednesday and offering exclusive Marvel content and insights on YouTube. In January 2021, a report claimed that Evans would be returning as Captain America. At the time, it looked like Evans would reprise the role as supporting character in another Marvel title rather than carry out another Captain America film of his own. A 4th Captain America film is on the way, with Anthony Mackie at the center of it as Sam Wilson. Sam received the Captain America shield from an old Steve Rogers at the end of Endgame before fully embracing the mantle in the Falcon and the Winter Soldier. Following the report of Evans returning, the actor took to Twitter with a coy response. "News to me," he wrote in a January 14, 2021 tweet. Word on his return of Captain America has since been quiet. Evans is currently set to release the definitive origin story of Buzz Lightyear, the hero who inspired the toy, as the Lightyear synopsis tells. Lightyear follows the legendary Space Ranger on an intergalactic adventure amongst ambitious recruits Izzy, Mo, and Darby, and his robotic companion Socks. As this motley crew embark on their toughest mission yet, they must learn to work as a team to escape the evil Zurg and his dutiful robot army who are never far behind. Do you want to see Evans return as Captain America in the MCU? Share your thoughts in the comments below. Okay. Would I want to see Captain America suit back up? Yes and no. Yes, because he was one of the very few reasons I stuck around with the MCU to the end, because there's something quite noble, endearing, and likable of him as Steve Rogers. I wouldn't want him to return because he had such the perfect ending. You know, he had the life he finally wanted. He was back with Peggy. He got, you know, he had the fairy tale ending. He got his happily ever after, and to undo that, I think, would be a disservice to the picturesque ending that the character so wanted, because you could tell by the end of the first Avenger that he was crushed, that at the back of his mind he's thinking, there's a chance I may never see Peggy again. And when he did finally get to meet up with her again, physically she was not exactly in the best state. And I remember reading some YouTuber comments at the time saying, hey, they could have had their first dance, and one man went so far to say, and sorry folks, I'm having to type this out because no way am I going to put this in. Help if I knew how to spell. No joke, that was a comment section conversation.
Oh my god!
Seriously, no,
Oh
no,
no!
no, 1,000 times no.
I got nothing. I got nothing.
I ain't saying anything.
No. I mean, I'll say something that I can say that's safe for work. If she had been given enough medication and enough energy, they could have had their dance at that point. They could have. But because then we get to not too far after the beginning of Civil War, and yeah, the announcement she'd gone, it hit him like a ton of bricks. But then she left with parting words from her niece: when the world tells you to move, you plant yourself in the ground, stay firm, and say, no, you move. So yeah. And it's the same thing with Tony Stark as Iron Man. I mean, the fan in me wants to see the character that I hold quite near and dear as a Marvel fan, because you were in most MCU fans will say they're there for one of the three characters: Tony Stark, Steve Rogers, or Peter Parker. And when, you know, Tony Stark had his noble sacrifice, you know, most people got off the MCU train at that point. It's like, well, my boy's gone, I don't have a reason to care now. Because if you were to bring Tony Stark back now, yeah, it'd be great to see him back, but then it cheapens what he did for the entire universe at the end of Endgame. If it's Tony Stark from an alternate timeline where he just happens to look and sound like the Tony Stark that left, then okay, because sometimes you can get the multiverse theory where you are exactly the same person from a timeline where that version had died, same personality and everything. It's just that you went a different path, and boom, there you are. And in another continuity, there's a Tony Stark that happens to be played by Tom Cruise, and I have very mixed feelings about that. Well, when the project was over at 20th Century Fox in the 90s, they wanted Tom Cruise as Tony Stark.
Well, I know this story. No.
I could see him possibly being Justin Hammer. He's got that cocky, charismatic swagger about him, but Tom Cruise very seldomly plays an antagonist. The last time he did that was playing Lestat. And to his credit, he played that role to perfection.
Mm-hmm.
But nah, I don't know. I mean, I'd be open, to the very least, at the idea of saying, okay, give me a really high detailed, high quality 20-minute demo of Tom Cruise as an alternate reality version of Tony Stark, and then I will give you my assessment. Because with Tom Cruise, he's either Ethan Hunt?
Ethan Hunt, yes.
Yeah, in Mission Impossible. He's either Ethan Hunt or he's Maverick. Now, granted, he hasn't been Maverick for 30 plus years, but those are the two characters you associate the most with him. So I don't know. I mean, it'd be like... Let me see. I mean, that'd be like Andy Dick playing Superman.
No.
Oh my god.
That'd be... I think Kaiju said something to the effect of once, that's inappropriate just on the face of it. I mean, if it was Andy Dick playing Deadpool... Actually, no.
Please,
He'd enjoy that way too much.
Please, no.
And then there's like Ryan Reynolds version, like, oh, Andy Dick, I didn't realize you were a voice in my head. Yes, I know exactly what you think. Aren't you, naughty Deadpool? Oh, yes, I am. You should see what I do on Sunday nights.
No. Just no.
So...
I need an adult.
Oh, but I'm Deadpool. I am an adult. That's debatable.
No.
I can play Deadpool. Actually, no. Only you enjoy that way too much.
I really would.
Alright. Madam President, as a big fan of the MCU, could you see Evans coming back to play Cap, and should or shouldn't he?
I feel like the way they left it in Endgame, I don't think that he should, but as much as I'm a big Captain America stan, I would like for him to come back. But then again, it would cheapen what he did, but also not really any people are fans of what he did going back when we thought he moved on. But again, that's just me. Other than that, yeah, just I'm a bit mixed on that. Just I feel like I want him to come back because again, I'm a big fan of Captain America, but I don't know. I'm a bit like mixed on that. So but again, if it's a wait and see kind of thing. If they do decide to do that, cool. But if they don't, it's fine. I'm not really against either option. I'm just as long if it happens, cool. If it doesn't, okay, whatever.
There's actually a lot of truth to what you're saying, because long before Endgame, he had supposedly moved on from Peggy, but I think if you're presented with the opportunity, with something as complex as time travel, and you're able to go back and actually have the life that you longed for with the one you love. I think most of us would be lying if we said, nah, we would never do that. If you had that chance to find that special someone you lost, and you're able to actually have them back and have that life you longed for, even though it'd be breaking every, law in physics, morality, and what have you, it'd be like, screw morality, I'm getting my girl back. It's like, I have this chance, I'm gonna take it. And I see both sides of what you're saying, but I mean, yeah, people will look at it as a very selfish thing to do that, but it's also a very human thing to do, because sometimes we have to do things that go against logic, but at the same time it feels right. As Leonard Nimoy said in the 2009 Star Trek, don't do it for logic. Do it because it's right. And that's why, Leonard Nimoy is the definitive Spock. I mean, Zachary Quinto, amazing. Never going to take that away from him. But there was something so human about the way Leonard portrayed him. You look at him and you sort of think, he's right. So Stephen, would you want to see Evans come back? And like me and Lids, do you feel like it would kind of ruin the way he left?
Yeah, I'm going to have to say no on the whole return, because I just think Chris Evans wants to move on to other things rather than be tied down by the MCU. Plus, after watching Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness, seeing their treatment of certain legacy characters just makes me feel as though if they bring him back, they could only somehow it might end up cheapening the reason of his appearance in a way. Because I'm not sure whether I should still say, because for possible spoilers for that movie, would that still count at this point?
Not sure, because people thought that Morbius was done, and they put it back out, and oh boy, did that bomb hard.
Yeah, there's one particular event that happens in Multiverse of Madness that really, 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 really irked me when I saw it for the first time, and it's like every time I rewatch that scene, it just makes me think, the Marvel Studios does not really care for the comic legacy characters in a way. If you want me to write down in the chat, I can.
Yeah, sure. You can do that, because like I say, it's not going to, not going to be saying anything verbally on air. And Wynn's just seen the comments I put earlier in.
Oh my god. Oh yeah. Ooh. Especially after what happens to a certain character, and I'm not talking. You know which one I'm not talking about.
I saw highlights.
Oh.
Why they keep doing this, there, man?
Yeah.
Two damn movies. This guy can't give me closure.
No. And considering the comment that Kaiju made about No Way Home, and the fact that a certain character admits that he's a parent, that could have some dangerous consequences considering the the nature of their children.
Mm-hmm.
And just running it again in there.
Hmm. Oh.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Oh, no.
He got.
So if you, so if you, so if you, so I, for me, I'd see somebody wanting revenge and considering that's their parent. Consider the MCU in major trouble in the future.
Because isn't the next
hey.
Avengers movie supposed to be Secret Wars?
Well, that's what. There's a bit of contention around that, whether it's going to be Secret Wars or a Thunderbolts movie.
Because if it's Secret Wars, you know Spider-Man's going to be involved.
Probably.
That does beg to question. That does beg to question, with Tony and Steve gone, who's the team leader?
That's a good freaking question.
Because the only other most senior members that have been there since the start is either Hawkeye, Bruce, or possibly even Rhodey. Because, let's be honest, would you want to take orders from Captain Marvel?
No.
I'd rather not, thanks. I honestly would take orders from Rogue than Captain Marvel. Yeah, I said it.
There's also Thor, but he's off doing whatever he wants at this point.
Yeah. Sean just says they could just give us a J. Jonah Jameson movie. JK would enjoy that way too much fun with that.
Don't give Sony ideas.
Hey, look at that, Liz. They made a movie all about me. Yeah, you wish.
Considering Sony has got, and I'm not kidding with this, a Silver Sable and Black Cat movie, a Madame Web movie, a Silk movie, a Kraven the Hunter movie, and the list goes on and on and on.
Considering there's a little bit of unrest from the country that Kraven's supposed to be from, do they really think that's such a good idea at the moment?
I don't know.
Alright. Brayden, did we get to you?
No.
Alright, same questions to you. Do you want to see Evans back, or do you think, like he's thinking, should it just be left alone?
Yeah, I'm with that ship has sailed already. I love personally, I love the Captain America movies. From First Avenger, I thought it was cool, but from from Winter Soldier to Civil War, Small's my favorite. It ain't gonna be the same anymore, and I think that's good enough to stay where it is. Time to give it to the next generation with Sam. So just nip it in the bud. It's already over. I mean, the Holy Trinity. Captain America is retired. OG. Iron Man heroically sacrificed himself. Thor is doing his own thing, which is cool. Looking forward to that. But yeah, I mean, the old school thing. I mean, just gotta start the next generation. Either adapt or perish. So there you go.
Yeah. Alright, we'll do one last article because we're coming up to our 2-hour limit. Jurassic World Dominion director addresses if Jurassic Park's Lex and Tim were considered. Dominion hit theaters this weekend and is having a lot of success at the box office despite mixed reviews. The movie is currently up on Rotten Tomatoes with a 31% critic score and 80% audience score. These days with Rotten Tomatoes, take what they say with a pinch of salt.
Mm-hmm.
Comicbook.com gave the movie a 3.5 out of 5 and called it overly long but full of heart, with one of the biggest draws of Dominion is the return of Jurassic Park's Laura Dern and Sam Neill and Jeff Goldblum. B.D. Wong is also back as Dr. Henry Wu, and the character Lewis Dodgson plays a significant role, but he's now portrayed by Campbell Scott. Yeah, he was originally played by Cameron Thor. When you feel free to look up why he's not there, let's just say you'd be better off not finding out. I'll leave it at that.
Yeah. IRL.
Yes. However, there are some Jurassic Park staples who aren't in the film, including Ariana Richards and Joseph Mazzello. It should be noted the last movie that Ariana Richards was in was that military werewolf movie from 2013, which I think was called like Dogs of War, where she gets bitten by a timber wolf, turns into a werewolf, and infects the whole airport that she's in, to basically where, you know, Manhattan becomes a quarantine zone. And yet you always get this one crazy army general that wants to weaponize the virus, and you're like, ugh, okay, wow.
Have I not learned anything from any movie or video game which has had the same premise?
Yeah, well, this was made by the Asylum Company, so take it for what you will. And Ernie Hudson, what were you doing in that movie? Come on, man, you're better than this.
I needed the paycheck, man.
Oh, is that why he did DBE? I looked at him up. Ernie, what are you doing here, man? Come on. I don't know.
We should be asking that same question about Chow Yun-fat, but
I think he enjoyed that role a little too much.
Yeah.
Colin Trevorrow had a chat with the Hollywood Reporter and asked if Lex and Tim were even considered for the new film. Every one of these characters takes up so much oxygen in every room that they step into that we really needed to be careful, and thought, I've always tried to keep a good sense of when it would start to feel like a Love Boat episode or something, where it's just like, who's the special guest in this scene? We have 5 characters, and counting Dodgson from Jurassic Park. B.D. Wong's been in all 3 of these movies, and he's a major character in this film. And when you're looking at a movie like Jurassic Park, which probably had a total of 8 characters, and 5 of them are in this movie, that actually is a lot. While it sounds like Lex and Tim were never considered for Dominion, Richards did walk the red carpet at the premiere, which was a nice surprise for fans. While Richards has retired from acting, Mazzello can still be seen in various projects, including Bohemian Rhapsody, awesome performance by the way, American Crime Story, and the upcoming Unexpected. Comicbook.com recently spoke with Trevorrow and asked if he had any requirements for the legacy cast. The director revealed he reached out to the actors to see what they had envisioned for their characters nearly 30 years after the original. I came in with questions for the actors, and for me, I had a feeling of what I would like to see as a fan, but I wanted to know what Laura Dern, where she felt Ellie Settler would be at this point in her life, and what Sam Neill felt. And I respect these actors so much as the authorities of the characters they play more than I could ever be. And so there was a lot of listening that went on, and what you're seeing is a result of these conversations. And all of those scenes are moments that they believed in, they felt comfortable playing, and I think that's why it works. It's because you can tell that's what they want their characters to be doing. Jurassic World Dominion is now playing in theaters. Oh, and according to a related article, Maverick has already made $700 million globally. Yeah,
wow.
and I've already got that pre-ordered on 4K Steelbook from Zavi.com. Shameless plug, but folks, Steelbook, it's worth it. I'm a little bit 50-50 with Lex and Tim not being there, considering they were trying to bring back as many people as they could for... They say it's going to close out the franchise, and it's just like, you know it's not. As Lids once said, money talks and bullshit walks. If this movie makes over $1 billion or plus more, there's going to be sequels. Guarantee it. Because even Frank Marshall has said that they're already planning sequels for the future. So, I get what Trevorrow's saying. But it still would have been great, even if it was just like a quick cameo just to show where the characters were. And, you can tell that Ariana still has fondness for the franchise, otherwise she wouldn't have turned up to the red carpet premiere. So, yeah. Obviously, Hammond was never going to come back because they actually address in Camp Cretaceous that John Hammond died of natural causes. As to when he passed away, they don't specify. We know Nedry wasn't going to come back. Not that anyone would miss that character anyway. In a graphic novel continuation, Muldoon somehow survived the raptor attack, and I'm like, how do you survive being mauled at the face by a raptor? Questions I'd like to know. But it would have been cool to see, probably bring them back as many as possible. Heck, even if they managed to get back Nick Van Owen, he's one of the very few characters never to have come back. Would have been interested to see where Kelly is, because I loved her character in Lost World. She was just so snarky. I don't think it was a case of answering back against her father and Ian. I think it was just more of a case of standing her ground and justifying what she had to say and what she had to do. That kind of reminds me of Ash in a subtle way, Rated, because we know, press her, the claws come out flying.
Oh, jeez.
Well, she's been in Facebook jail enough times. She'd I like that when she posts these GIF images, Ash, don't start and behave yourself. And then this giant Cheshire cat grin comes across Jerry's face, and it's just and there's me and Raiden, and there's me and Raiden Leonard from Big Bang Theory. Here we go. But hey, she's the goddess. We love her. She's adorable. That's all we need. All we need to say. Steve, do you think it was right to leave Lex and Tim out, or do you agree with Trevorrow's assessment of you can only have so many legacy characters brought in before there's not enough screen time for everyone else?
Yeah, considering how much they wanted to include with this third bit to the World trilogy, there were some things that obviously needed to be cut for story purposes. I think cutting them from the final script was necessary for the plot, if I'm honest.
That's fair. All right. Madam President, your closing thoughts.
I'm 50-50 on it. I mean, I would have liked to have seen them come back in the movie. Just again, maybe it's a small cameo, if anything, or at least, or just have Grant or Ellie at least mention that, how they're doing, because again, I'm assuming that they're checking up on these kids. So it's they have to, again, those kids have had those two kids are now adults with that same trauma they carried from being attacked on an island full of dinosaurs, and then have the dinosaurs now be alive and walking around the rest of the planet. That would probably awaken some fucking trauma.
Yep.
Especially with raptors. Yikes.
Yeah.
Yeah, those kids have got to be those two have got to be at least in some level of therapy, because Jesus.
Nobody wants to go through dinosaur PTSD.
I could imagine that at least Lex would be again, I think that she would have at least been working not with InGen, because she would at least I don't know. It's I think I see them pursuing different paths. Maybe if Lex had been had that trauma fester in her head, where she's all she decides to become a dinosaur poacher or something like that, or I don't know. I don't know because they don't give us context as to what happened to these kids except in the Lost World, I think, and that's it.
Yeah.
You don't get any context to what the hell happened to these kids after they became adults. Because yeah, there's some trauma there. And I would have liked to see that explored, but again, I do have to agree with Steve that it would have taken a lot of time away from the other characters, and it would have made this bloated script even more packed. And yeah, even with that kind of script, you have to like at least be a little selfish. So again, I'm of two minds about it. I would have liked Lex and Tim to come back, but also it would have been a little too much. So again, if there's like a deleted scene where like they mentioned what happened to them or something, I don't know, that would have been nice. But other than that, I can live with that, not knowing their fate for the time being.
Yeah, that's fair. And that damn kitchen scene, nearly 30 years later, that's where that movie creeps into horror territory.
Yeah, Lex will never look at Jello the same way ever again.
No. To the Raptor Raiden, do you kind of agree with the consensus 50-50?
Yeah, 50-50. I kind of don't want to want to be on a long tangent like this. It's just it's kind of just a non-issue doing that. You're gonna make that shit like 5 hours, and Lord knows you don't want that.
Yeah, well, you say 5 hours. That's probably why, Fast 10 is being split into 2 parts. Good lord.
Mm.
They're gonna have to do something particularly special to close that franchise out as well, because, I mean, I'm glad the Fast franchise has lasted this long, but if they ever do a reboot, which chances are they will, can we have it go back to be just about street racing and not essentially the Avengers in cars?
I mean, to be fair, I'll be honest. I mean, as much as I love the street racing stuff, I think doing that for multiple movies it's gonna get stale. So true. I can understand why they had to resort to it, because you gotta branch out. It has gone bombastic, but the Fast Five, I appreciated the change, and even though because of that they kind of went off the rails. It is what it is, though.
Yeah. Well, folks, we have come to the end of season 10, and I feel like this was more or less the right time for this season to bow out, because kind of what we did same time last year. Last year was because I was moving and what have you. This time we just need a break, because it's fun to do this and we enjoy doing this, but same time there are some points of the year where the mind just needs a chance just to rest up. And as I've said, I'm going to be doing prep work this summer just to make sure that when we go into season 11 and I do the previews for the movie reviews, I'm already, say, somewhere between October and November getting those reviews finished up. Just so I can have a little less stress, because I'm trying to get into the mindset of don't put off tomorrow what you can do now, because once you do something today, it's done. You don't have to worry about it again. And as Kaiju mentioned, it'll give me a chance to work on my quicker delivery, which I'm working with it. I'm trying with it. It's like with therapy. It's not going to happen overnight. It's something that you do it so often that eventually you start doing it in your sleep, and I just turned that into something really weird already.
Yeah.
And I'm like, and you had to
Wanna
go
say
make it,
anything.
and you had to go make it weird. I've known you for 10 years. Cut me some slack.
Ah,
And there's Lid's going, he's got you there. So, on that note, thank you to everybody that tuned in for this season. Thank you to the return of Kaiju Noir for the latter half, the one-time appearance of this season of our adorable, sweet, and badass SKL sister, Win the Rogue, who we miss you, by the way. It's not the same
Yes.
without you. You know, we hope that someday you're able to come back on a regular basis. But hey, IRL is IRL. You can't do anything against it. You can only work with it. And before we go, let's do a raid. We shall go with Velocigirl.
I was going to suggest, because Kaiju's doing a stream currently with another Twitch viewer at the moment.
I might do that for next time, but you know, Velocigirl is just amazing, and she's just so chill. So, like I say, we'll go raid her. There's about 2 viewers, so yep, we'll see you in season 11. And right now, enjoy the quirky and chilled, laid-back antics of Velocigirl on Jurassic World Evolution. For context, folks, that's twitch.tv/VLOCIGRRL. And I'll be back on Tuesday night for Sonic Tuesdays with Sonic Unleashed. I hope to get it done because, Raiden, Lids, for context, I went through hell on Tuesday night trying to do that last level. It broke me.
Oh my goodness.
15 lives just wasn't enough.
No, it was not.
Holy shit!
Jesus Christ.
When I get done with Unleashed, I am not picking that game up for another 14 years. No, there was a reason I've not picked certain games up like that. And then what we do
So
for Sonic
20 years,
Tuesdays in
got
the
it.
future, I don't know, but I'm considering picking up Quarry, the spiritual
Ooh.
successor to Until Dawn. And speaking of Until Dawn, it'll be Until Dawn when I go, so we'll see you in September. Have fun, everybody.
Bye.
The
We shall see. I might have to put a second gate in as well.
Alright, that's going into Velocigirls. Let's see. I'm an all-time cheerer. of 500.
Hey, MJ Knight. Thank you for the raid. Welcome, welcome.
Looks like Kaiju is and
How you doing?
Jensen
Hope you've had a
VT
good,
are just
day
doing
or
the
evening or
Xbox.
whatever time it is.
Games showcase at the moment.
Alright.
I heard that. I heard it wasn't that good.
Yeah.
Just letting her know, just finishing up the
Sure.
podcast. Alright.
Not bad, thanks. Good.
Chair 85. Give her some bits.
Just finished season 10 finale of my podcast. Nice! Well, I hope it went well.
It did.
I'm just waiting. I'm just waiting for Oni to complete the Valkyrie Queen boss Sigrun on God of War.
Oh, go!
He-
Oh, Lord help
Oh,
me.
he will get to it. It's just he has a lot of
So,
games
okay,
to
we're
finish.
Gonna wait
Yeah,
for that to be
but-
below comfort.
That one is.
The Platypus is
That one he's gonna be
wild,
really
gonna
raging over.
Oh yeah, 'cause I
Oh,
remember
no.
you told me, Steve.
Yeah.
I remember you told me, Steve, that the Valkyries are a bitch to take
And I
out.
imagine in that time,
Yeah.
guy's gonna break
And
out.
the thing about Sigrun, the Valkyrie Queen, she has all of the moves of all of the previous Valkyries that you fought.
Oh
Thank you for the
no!
75
No!
bits,
No!
MJ.
No!
Appreciate it.
And she throws at him at random.
Yes.
Oh fuck!
Well, and
As you can
put
see,
it to a
I'm
point,
in the middle of trying to do
died
this
over
mission.
20 times, and it took me over about
Be interesting.
2 to 3 hours in order to defeat her.
God damn. That reminds me of a lot of times when I had to do like 17, 18 tries to take out perfect spell in
Well, I hope
Dragon
your
Ball Z
podcast
Budokai
finale
Story.
went well.
Yeah, but when he does so,
You got a new
when he
season lined
does
up?
defeat Sigrun,
Working on Site B
I'm gonna
on Jurassic
donate to him
Wednesdays at the
10,000
moment.
bits.
Site B is a
Ooh,
pain
Oh,
to
boy.
get into.
this
What
sounded
is
good.
that? Wait, is that like
I've said to him before,
the
if he
island that
defeats
is
the
in
Valkyrie
like perpetual
Queen,
nighttime?
I will donate to him 10,000 bits.
Did in
Because such
September. Nice.
such a feat deserves a reward.
What's the goat?
Nah,
Sleeping.
you ever guys
So, you know
get
what?
you guys ever
Have
get
a
a chance to check out Velocigirl? She is.
Platypus is almost
Think
here.
of her as a slightly
That's Site D, I
chilled
think.
British
Okay.
version of
The
Win.
Night
She's just like,
Island.
yeah, I'm good,
I
whatever.
haven't started it yet. I think I'm gonna need an actual like
That's
guide
cool.
for that one because like I know it's only a game, but like it makes me really anxious. Because the second island on this game, the one with all the storms all the time,
Oh dear.
drove me absolutely crazy. So I'm not looking forward to trying to do the Night Island.
Steve's seen me suffer with the Night Island on Evolution 1.
You good?
Kaiji
Slowly socializing.
seems to be losing it on the other stream.
You making friends with the goat? Okay.
Hold up,
Funny.
Velociraptor?
I mean, I know you're gonna eat it later, so what does it matter?
Wait a minute, a raptor's making friends with a goat? Goat's usually dinner time for you.
He had snacks, but he didn't enjoy it. It was not a good time.
What animal is she introducing? Hang on, let's have a look.
You too? Yeah, absolutely.
Oh, she's got a Diplodocus.
Oh,
Wait,
comfort going down.
hold up.
Also, going to have a
She
snooze.
introduces
The
the
long
animal.
neck?
She introduces the animal into the enclosure, and the thing's taking
Okay,
a
so
nap
what is
already.
it that he's missing the forest? Yeah, that was
Okay,
that was
what?
a good call on my part. Then.
Yeah, that's the weirdest thing.
I
Because
didn't-
if you tranquilize the animals in the game, the only way you can wake them up is to airlift them. And one time I airlifted a T-Rex up just to wake her up, and then she goes for a nap again. And I'm like,
I didn't do anything.
you're kidding me with this, right?
But that's fine.
Well, dinosaurs need their sleep too.
So now I just have to wait. This is
Yeah, but
literally
you would have
just a
thought
waiting
being
game. Like I have to
tranquilized,
wait
they
for them
would be
both to
getting
get
their
really
sleep because,
uncomfortable.
alright, it's
So Velociraptor's
forced
there.
sleep, but it's still sleep nonetheless.
Maybe it still felt a bit groggy. 5 more minutes.
I'm uncomfortable. I just go into sleep. Never related to a video game character so much before.
Alright,
Right?
I think this is the point where I'm gonna
And I'm uncomfortable and I'm bored.
go off the air and
Don't have
I gotta
enough.
start thinking about getting ready for work.
I wish I could do that.
Okay,
Yeah.
I'm gonna try and get some food in me, and then
Yeah.
then try to get enough sleep so I can then watch Dominion, hopefully,
Yes.
and then get
that-
ready to get back to work.
I get that same luxury in a few days, and it's probably going to be one of those mornings where, yeah, I'm not going to get much sleep. It's like, then look to Holy Grail, like a can of Monster just opens up with wings. Here is your motivation. Yes, I will accept this. Ooh, I'm going to be awake for about 16 hours now. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Imagine only on a can of Monster. Actually, no, let's not.
And say we did.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, Liz. Everything's moving so slow. I can actually see through time. Ooh, I can see next week's learners. Honey, you write those down right now.
Yeah, write those down now.
Oh,
Ooh, look at that. Barney the dinosaur is now world president. Okay, honey, were you actually drinking Monster? I don't know. It had a monster on it.
Oh no.
And then Liz thought,
Oh.
yeah, 911, only's been drinking the interesting
Hot
juice
Mountain.
again. Yes, I know.
Hey, at least it's not Flaming Hot Mountain Dew.
No, we don't talk about
Yeah, I
that.
hope not. No.
No, we don't.
Oh, Jesus.
We do not talk about that. All right, I'm gonna bug out. I'll see you guys
Okay.
whenever.
All right.
Yeah.
See you guys later.
See you.
All right.
See ya.
All right.